So the Agheel's Acolyte build is going to be a level 150 arcane faith build where you are going to use Dragon Communion Incantations to smash around the battlefield, one-shotting most normal enemies and doing a crazy amount of damage to bosses. Between Agheel's Flame, Dragon Maw, and Dragon Claw, you are going to have a crazy fun time smashing through the lands between, so let's go ahead and get into it. Within this build video, I'm going to show you exactly everything you need to get and where to find it in order to get the damage you're seeing in this video. I'm going to take you through the talismans, armor, what we're using for weapons and seals, as well as where to get everything for your Flask of Wonders physics. So let's start out with the talismans that synergize oh so well and make this build absolutely amazing. So in talisman slot number 1, we're going to be using the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman for the reason of this build is going to have you get hit a lot. You need as much damage negation as you possibly can get, so with the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, you're going to get 20% damage negation, and that's going to stack on top of some of the other buffs that we are using within this build to make it work. Moving on to talisman slot number 2, we're going to be using the Faithful Canvas Talisman, which is going to raise the potency of our incantations by 4%, allowing our incantations to hit a lot harder, and this is going to stack with our number 3 talisman, the Phlox Canvas Talisman. Now, I know a lot of people think these talismans cannot stack, but they are incorrect. These talismans stack just fine, and this is going to give you an 8% damage increase in your incantations, allowing us, when both are stacked, to get a 12% damage boost to our Dragon Communion Incantations, which is phenomenal. So, moving into talisman slot number 4, we are going to be using the Fire Scorpion Charm. This is going to stack on top of Agheel's Flame, allowing that to hit like crazy, and this is going to provide us a 12% damage boost to our fire attacks. Now, this is also going to make you take 10% more damage, so if you can get the timing of these incantations down correctly, you won't have to worry about that at all, but just take note of that, as that's something that can really mess you up with this build. Now, another option you can use here, instead of the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, if you're not worried about getting hit and you have the endurance to wear a really awesome armor set, you can actually replace that talisman with the Godfrey icon, because some of your Dragon Communion incantations are going to be chargeable, allowing you to get a 15% increase to damage for those particular incantations, which is going to help you out overall in the long run to just pour out more damage overall. Now, for all 4 of these talismans, they can be located very easily, but they are scattered throughout the game. So the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman is going to be located in Ephriel Brace of the Hallig Tree in a broken down church surrounded by a bunch of pest enemies that you can see right here on the screen. The Faithful Canvas Talisman is going to be located in Celia Crystal Tunnel. As you make your way through that, there's going to be a Kindred of Rot enemy that's going to be laying there. It's going to be on his corpse. Moving into the Phlox Canvas Talisman, this is going to be a quest reward for completing Millicent's questline after you return to Gowry. I will leave that questline down in the description below, so if you want to go check that out and figure out how to get this for yourself, you're more than welcome to do so. And the Fire Scorpion Charm is going to be located up in Seathwater Terminus in Fort Lead on the west side of a wooden platform of the ramparts. Now, within our Flask of Wonders physic, we are going to be using 2 tiers that work very well together. The first is going to be the Flame Shrouding Crack tier, and this is going to give you a 20% damage boost to your flame attacks, which is going to also stack with our Fire Scorpion Charm. Both of these together are going to allow our Agheel's Flame to hit super hard and do a lot of damage to every single enemy within Elden Ring. Our second tier is going to be the Cerulean Hidden tier, which is going to keep you from spending FP for 15 seconds. This helps out a ton with Agheel's Flame and allows us to cast it uninhibited for an extended period of time. The Flame Shrouding Crack tier is going to be located in Caelid after you defeat the Putrid Avatar guarding the Minor Erd Tree just east of the Smoldering Church. If you're looking for the Cerulean Hidden tier, it's going to be dropped from the Ulcerated Tree Spirit at the Minor Erd Tree right here on the map next to the Road of Iniquity before Volcano Manor. And guys, per usual, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this far into the video. I appreciate it a ton. If you've not subscribed to the channel yet, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you guys can know when I'm making more videos. We also have a Patreon for those of you guys who want to support the channel in a different way, and I'm going to start leaving the names of all the patrons at the end of each one of my videos, so if that is something that interests you, definitely feel free to go check that out. I will leave that link down in the description below, and with all that being said, thank you once again. Now let's get back into the video. Now, as far as what we're using for the actual weapons and seals of the build, we are going to be moving into New Game Plus territory, but you can actually do this on your first playthrough. You just will not be able to get a second seal that's going to stack together in order to make sure your Dragon Communion Incantation incantations hit extra hard. So first off, we're using 2 Dragon Communion seals. As I said, you can use just one if you would like to, if you are in your first playthrough. Dragon Communion seal is going to have an arcane scaling of S and a faith scaling of B with an incantation scaling of 387. The reason that we are using 2 of these seals is because they are going to boost our Dragon Communion incantations. That boost is going to be a 15% damage boost to those Dragon Communion incantations, but since we're using 2, we are going to get a 30% damage boost on top of our 2 talismans that are already going to boost our incantations even farther. So overall, we are going to be getting a fantastic amount of damage out of using both of these seals. You can find this seal at the Fringe Folk Hero's grave in the very beginning of the game. You just need to use 2 stone sword keys to access that, and then you can make your way through and find this seal for yourself. Now, just in case enemies get too close and we need a little something to fend them off, we are using the Sword of Night and Flame as well. With the faith scaling that we have, this weapon is going to do a crazy amount of damage, especially with its fire damage, and since we have a tier and a talisman that are going to help boost that damage, we are going to have a really good time with this weapon. This is a last resort weapon I'm using for this build because the majority of what I'm using is just the Dragon Communion Incantations, but this weapon is going to have a fantastic Ash of War, allowing you to spread a huge flame in front of you that is going to do pure fire damage, but if we do need to put some physical damage out there, we can do that as well. This weapon has a physical damage of 200 plus 33 and fire damage of 129 plus 105. Its attribute scaling is Strength E, Dexterity E, Intellect C, Intelligence C, and Faith C. You won't find this until midway through the game in the Carrion Manor, but as you make your way through, you can jump down onto one of the other ramparts, and this weapon will be waiting there for you. It's going to require you to have 12 Strength, 12 Dexterity, 24 Intelligence, and 24 Faith. Now, per usual, we are going to be wearing an armor set that not only looks absolutely fantastic, but also gets us over that 51 poise mark. So everything here is purely aesthetic minus the poise, but we're going to be using the Great Helm, the Drake Knight armor, the Drake Knight gauntlets, and the Bullgoat greaves. This is going to wrap you in 60 poise, allowing you to tank a few hits while you're using your Dragon Communion incantations and allowing you to get your Dragon Communion incantations off without getting knocked out of them. The Great Helm is going to be located right here in Caelid, sold by a merchant. The Drake Knight armor and the Drake Knight gauntlets are both going to be found within the Halig tree at the end of the game, and the Bullgoat greaves are going to be located at the very end of Patch's questline, which I am currently working on, and I will have a video out for that in a few weeks. Now, I will say for the stats of the build, it is too stat heavy for you to use the Sword of Night and Flame on top of everything else you need for this particular build if you are on your first playthrough. If you are on New Game Plus, definitely put the Sword of Night and Flame in here, but if you are not, use any weapon that you would like for this build. It is not necessary. But for the build, I'm using 50 Vigor, 20 Mind, 20 Endurance, 12 Strength, 12 Dexterity, 7 Intelligence, Faith is at 68, and Arcane is at 40. If you're not using the Sword of Night and Flame, you can take off the Strength and Dexterity because you're not going to need it, and you can round out Faith to 70. For the incantations of the build, we are going to be using 2 buff spells and 4 offensive spells. The first 2 buff spells are Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow. These are going to provide you fantastic physical damage as well as damage negation, and then for the rest of our incantations, all of these can be attained from the different churches of Dragon Communion within the lands between. We're going to be using Dragon Claw, Dragon Maw, Grail's Roar, and Agheel's Flame. But overall, I feel like this build provides a fantastic challenge for those of you who want to play with a little bit different meta within the game. I know we've been waiting for Elden Ring DLC, and a lot of content is pretty dry when it comes to Elden Ring right now, but I figured we can continue putting build videos out that kind of go against what you would normally see, and this provides a very fun playstyle that I don't see a whole lot. For those of you guys who are insane enough to take this build into PvP, let me know what you guys think of it down in the comments. Let me know how many times you guys 1 or 2 shot people, and I'm really excited to see how it goes for you. But guys, that is going to be it for this particular build video. Like I said before, if you've not subscribed to the channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you guys can know when I'm making more videos. I am going to leave a ton of different videos on the screen right now for you guys to check out, and we are moving our way back into Lies of P and Lords of the Fallen content, and I'm going to sprinkle a few other games in here and there. So without further ado, thank you guys again so much for watching until the end of the video, and until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.